Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland on the D-Day beaches of Normandy. And I love culture, I love music, and I love revolution. And I have got the guy for you today, Mr. Hay Corkle in Canada. How are you doing, sir?
Very good. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Listen, to let everybody know how I found out about Mr. Hay is Patrice Granville of the Greenville Post published a piece about NATO, and he was so impressed with a song that he had found out about, and that's the first song we're going to play today. And so he said, we have a group of writers, and he said, you all have got to watch this. And so I watched a No to NATO by Mr. Hay on YouTube, and I was like blown away. I couldn't believe it. So I immediately went to his website, found his email, and connected with him and asked him to be on my show. And so I'm just really, really, really happy to have him. Welcome, Mr. Hay.
Thank you.
Well, listen, I want to give a brief introductory bio. Mr. Hay is a singer-songwriter of the working class. All songs he has written and plans to record, not a single one is about individual love, his personal feelings, nihilism, hedonism, or any type of cryptic message. The songs are about the reality that people face in their lives. They strive to present a vision that a new society can and must be created to end the social, cultural, political, and economic crisis. His songs are a departure from most popular music of the day and reflect a different direction and aim for music. And if I'm going to include his website, I'm going to include his YouTube channel, and he has a really nice several hundred word personal autobiography about how he grew up and how he got to where he is writing playing songs. So anyway, Mr. Hay, everybody must surely want to know, what is the origin of your first name? Because it's the first time I've ever heard it, and it's really cool.
Well, I'm named after Mr. Hay Masqua, who was a Cree chief of the Plains Cree in Saskatchewan, Canada, and during became well known for his role in the 1885 Louis Riel Rebellion in Saskatchewan. And so my family was friends with the Cree Nation in Saskatoon and around the area, and so I was named after that Cree chief, Mr. Hay Masqua, in honor and in friendship with First Nation. But I don't have any First Nations blood, I should say, but that's besides the point. I feel like
you have the spirit.
That's right, yes.
All right, cool. Well, listen, we're going to play the first song that this is the one that I heard that got Mr. Hay and me in touch.
I spent 10 years in the United States Army as a combat medic. I deployed to Baghdad in 2004. I'm here to return my Global War on Terrorism Service Medal in solidarity with the people of Iraq and the people of Afghanistan. I am deeply sorry for the destruction that we have caused in those countries and around the globe. These were lies. I'm giving them back.
Hear the warmongers speak. NATO must expand to the east. Trust us, they say, Russia, China, enemies. They won't get down on their knees. But we know who's to blame for the path to World War III. We say no, NATO. Shout.
Our enemies are not 7
of the day, trying to hide the crimes away. War in the name of peace, but we know what to blame. The bloody crusades, we say no, NATO.
Friends, I'm here to tell you that I blame myself first. Should have done my homework, should have realized the lies before I participated in them. So this symbolic act, this throwing of the medal, is for all those people out there who are wondering why we're doing it. Do your homework.
They spread fear, lies, and hate to justify regime change. World control is their aim, state terror on display. Violence is their only way. But we know who's to blame. It's the war machine gets paid. We say no, NATO.
I will not continue to trade my humanity for false heroism.
NATO, the USA government, and Israel need to be held accountable for the war crimes, genocide, torture, and drone attacks. I'm returning my medal, and I'm here to say that war is a racket!
Defend the rights of all. Don't let them demonize the world. Disband NATO, bring the troops home. It's the only way to peace. But we know who's to blame, so raise up your fist and sing. We say no, NATO.
I deserted. I'm one of 40,000 people that left the United States Armed Forces because this is a lie.
Because it's the working class who fights the ruling class's wars. But I'm not fighting for imperialism anymore. I'm fighting against imperialism. And this is dedicated to all the courageous people who are under attack by the FBI.
Wow, what a song. How did you, who produces your videos? I mean, who seeked all that together? And because that is just some really terrific production.
Well, actually, I did that one.
Wow, it's really good.
Oh, thank you. I've reached out to quite a few people. I'm hoping to expand, the amount of involvement in the music and in the production and stuff. So I'm willing to work with anybody. I'd like more people to be involved in this kind of music. So I will continue to reach out to people. But this one I did myself, yes.
And so, have you gone to these No to NATO? Have you been to any of the No to NATO's protests?
I have, yeah, and it goes back quite a ways. I'm getting a little bit older now. I was at the No to NATO as a very young guy back in 1999 when NATO was bombing Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia, yeah.
And so that was really sort of, I think that might have been my first anti-war protest, actually.
Cool.
And that's when I started to cut my teeth and learn a little bit about this U.S. imperialism and, they're striving for a unipolar world and using violence as a means to achieve this aim and other such measures as sanctions and regime change through coup and their influence with their agents all over the world and all the rest of it. So, I mean, it's been now, almost 25 years of seeing the U.S. at work. So at this point, I'm fairly well versed in what they do.
You're an expert.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't like to. I'd rather not have to write a song like this because of the shape of the world, right? But I feel compelled. I really
absolutely. Well, it's really good, and I love your three knocks on the top of your guitar. That's quite good. Did you write the music first or the lyrics first?
So I write in all kinds of ways. They've come in various ways. Sometimes lyrics first, sometimes the melody first, sometimes a lick first on the guitar, and a rhythm. But this particular one, I had the aim of writing an anti-war song, and so I came up, but I didn't want it to be slow-paced or introspective, and that there's quite a few anti-war songs, if you can even call them that, in my opinion, that are of that nature. So I wanted it to be like, fist in the face of these warmongers. So I wrote it with that upbeat tempo, and the hitting of the guitar and all of these things is to encourage the people and to give that kind of sense that there's urgency to it, and that people should try to inspire people to take action and to defeat this kind of march, this death march that the U.S. has us going on here. So,
yeah. And you mentioned China and Russia, so thank you for a guy that lived and worked with the Chinese people in China for 16 years. I really appreciate it. And it all goes back to what I call the big lie propaganda machine. It's incessant. Russia, Russia, Russia,
yeah.
China, 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 Russia, 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 China, China, China. It just does not stop. It just, unfortunately, it brainwashes most of the people. But you and I are out there trying to show the people a different way, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, it's like I tell a lot of my fellow workers. I'm in construction, and I'll say, like, what possible grievance or beef do we have, say, with some carpenter in Moscow?
It's a nice analogy.
Yeah, or some farmer in China. Like, we literally have nothing to quarrel about. This is between the U.S. State Department and all of the oligarchs who are behind the aim to dominate the economy on a global scale, in conflict with other people who are simply trying to advance their own interests, and not even necessarily in contradiction with U.S. aims per se. It's just that the U.S. is hell-bent on controlling and dominating everything. So, I mean, that's why they have aircraft carriers in the South China Sea. What are they doing there? This is why they have set up missiles all throughout Eastern Europe and continue to expand NATO. So this is the trouble in the world, and it's the insistence that all these other countries must abide by the rules, what they call their international rules-based order, which really just means you have to come under the thumb of the U.S. Interests. So, like, they even are so mean-spirited and cruel towards a small country like Cuba, who they've been trying to crush now for,
since 1959.
Yeah, since the revolution.
Since before you were born, maybe.
It's definitely before I was born, and it's just. Like, we had to put an end to this already. This is the source of the conflict throughout the world. So this is why the song just straightforwardly says that, like, disband NATO. This is an aggressive military war alliance headed by the U.S. And it's causing trouble. I mean, it's going to lead to a wider war in Europe if they keep going down this road. They're rearming Germany. Japan is becoming remilitarized. And they keep saber rattling with Korea and with China. Like, this is
not to mention Ukraine. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, let's listen to your next song now. For the fans out there, this one does not have this one's not a produced video. This is Mr. Hay, one of Mr. Hay's latest songs. He sent me the MP3. And I don't think it's even on. I don't think it's even on your YouTube channel yet. Is this the world premiere, Mr. Hay?
It is.
Hey, China Rising Radio Sinoland gets the world premiere for the next song by Mr. Hay Corkle called Killer Drones. All right, so what I did is I converted it to MP4 video, and I just put Mr. Hay's mug in front of his studio mic. So that's what you're going to see during the whole song, because he has not produced it yet. All right, great song, man.
Thanks.
Really, really good. Hey, are you which instruments are you playing on these songs?
So that one there is I'm doing the drums, the guitar, and the vocal.
Okay, cool. Do you have colleagues that come in and help you do any adding instruments or anything or?
Yeah, so for this one, I have a bassist that came into studio, like a professional, a studio musician. But we're getting to be friends and know each other and all that. But yeah, so he plays on this track. He's also done another track with me that you'll play later. And then there's a producer that I work with. Like I go into a studio here in town. It's a professional outfit. So
so you're not a do-it-yourselfer in the living room.
No, it's like I'm humbled by the amount of practice it takes just to learn a few things, let alone many things, right? So like I come from the trades in construction, and there's that expression, jack of all trades, master of none. Well, if you want to be decent at something, you really got to focus your attention and work at it, and that's why we have division of labor in construction, right? And it's no different in music. We have division of labor. Like I can't play the bass properly. I probably have about 10 minutes of playing a bass guitar in my life. Could I fake it on a track? Well, yeah, because I'm good enough on guitar. But this guy's doing some pretty cool stuff. Like if you listen for instance, during the bridge.
Yeah,
he's doing some really nice walking on the bass guitar. That could only come from a guy who has years of playing.
Yeah, it's totally different than a six string.
It is, yeah.
That's for sure.
So, yeah, and the hope is to actually expand and have more people involved. Like I think maybe the next song that you're playing has a cellist who's just phenomenal, and I'm not playing the cello on that. But I end up doing quite a bit though, on all of the tracks, in terms of the musicianship.
Yeah, there's a couple of power pop artists that I love a lot. Chris von Schneidern and Richard X. Heyman, and they're somewhat famous in the music industry because they're do-it-yourselfers. They've turned their apartments over in New York into studios.
Right.
And the wives do the soundboard and the production, and they play all the instruments, and except like you, they may bring in somebody. So no, but you can tell these are very, very, very well produced, and I congratulate you. Before we move on to the next song, Mr. Hay really hit the nail on the head, or should I say the war criminal on the head, and that is Barack Obama, which whom I like to call Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. All my white bread, caviar and champagne, leftist friends, and France and
I guess they like his pretty words.
Yeah, and in the United States, who fawn over him and adore him. He was a CIA plant from his childhood. We're not going to go into it, but anyway, he bombed, used more drones, I think, than all the other presidents before him. He was the drone king. He killed and maimed thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And he loved it. And a suppressed quote by Barack Obama, but it's true, is he was quoted as saying, I can't believe that I would enjoy killing people so much. And that's what he said.
Actually, I haven't seen that one. I've seen many, but I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. He said it in some meeting or something, or a fundraiser, and a couple of guys corroborated it. I think it was at a fundraiser. And but anyway, yeah, it's an ice pick, cold-blooded psychopath. That guy. So when you say trust the president, you know, the U.S. chief says he's the judge and jury. Don't you worry. Yeah, tell that to all the people in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, Libya, Iraq, Syria. I mean, it's just awful. Anyway.
I'm glad you actually mentioned Barack Obama because coincidentally, that's when I started to write this song. I mean, I didn't record it till now, but that's when I started to write the song, was when Barack Obama was president of the United States.
Okay. All right.
But obviously it's still relevant. They're actually, looks like they're going to increase their drone warfare. So
yeah, with the Biden for sure.
Yeah.
Well, listen, our next song, great. I think the fans are enjoying this. The next song is Move On. And this reminds me of that phony CIA front group, another white bread liberal remember that Move On movement. They've been totally co-opted by the CIA and the deep state. But anyway, this is the real Move On because this is Mr. Hayes' song. This is good Move On, not the Move On that has been such a sham for the last 20 years as a supposed liberal NGO.
Fire, it burns in your soul. Fire, it lights up your heart. You oppressed all over the world. Something is calling, move on. Here and now in your homeland. Here and now, justice to demand. The fire, the water, the burning desire. Rights fall. Stand tall. This old world has to go, like the kings who hoarded the gold. It's the few who rule over the whole. It's the whole who rule over the new. Here and now in your land. Here and now, justice to demand. The fire, the water, the burning desire. A world that meets the needs and rights of all. Stand tall.
But I'm the decider, and I decide what is best. Weapons of mass destruction.
You saw and died.
We tortured some folks.
Love, it fills up your soul. Love, it lifts up your heart. Not of one of the few, but for all. This humanity breaking down walls. Here and now in your own land. Here and now, justice to demand. The fire, the water, the burning desire. For a world that meets the needs and rights of all. Move on.
Really good, Mustahi. That was really a great song. He really, and I love the imagery. Did you produce this one too?
I did, yeah.
Wow, you've got a great grasp of history. Blair Mountain, and then you had the You had the French Commune of 1848 and the end of fascism with the Russians beating the Germans in World War II. I mean, it was really, really good. Who wrote those texts at the beginning, at the end, with the Roiling Ocean?
That was Hardy L. Baines. So he's the leader, or was, because he's passed away. He was the leader of the Communist Party of Canada, Marxist-Leninist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what was his name?
Hardy L. Baines.
Hardy L. Baines. You also had Lenin. I mean, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You're really something else. So you've really done your homework. As you said, you've been studying this for 25 years.
Yeah.
And then, and then the horrific monsters, Hillary and Killary, as a lot of people like to call her, Obama, and baby Bush. It's just,
all the monsters put into
in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't want to give them too much airtime. They've had plenty over the years, right? So, but in case anyone needed to be reminded of how horrific these people are, I give a little snapshot.
Yeah, and they're doing their pumps and they're happy, and then Obama says, well, yeah, we tortured some people, but nothing's happened. They still are. They're still doing it, and everybody thinks he's a wonderful, wonderful man for saying that he's such a good president for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
So as you say, his sweet words, his sweet words. Anyway, great song. And I heard the cellist. Was that the cellist who was in the clip?
Yes.
You took a few black and whites of the studio.
Yeah.
All right.
He is an outstanding musician.
Yeah.
I got to give my props to him. He, we worked together to come up with the parts, but he's a very creative person, and he is a master of his instrument at a very young age. So
yeah. It's a beautiful instrument, that with the violin, with the violin together, they can do a lot of things.
yeah, that was a fun song for me to explore and to work out the strings, and that was quite enjoyable.
I also like the fact that you like to, kind of tie all this back into not only the brutality overseas, but the extreme brutality at home. The Gestapo that we have here in North America and Europe now is basically Europe is a fascist union, and nobody likes to talk about it. Everybody wants to avoid it, but that's just the way it is. It's just we have become a fascist police state here, and I haven't been back to America for a while, or Canada, but I get the impression it's not any better.
No, it isn't. It's getting worse, and they keep militarizing the police, and they are licensed to kill. There's just no doubt about it. I mean, since George Floyd and all this talk from State Department here in Canada too, like all the talk from the ruling circles was about, the systemic racism, and they would even use that word. But there's no substantive reforms that are coming forward by these people. And here's the thing: is that we, the working class and the broad masses of people, should not expect any reforms coming out of these people. They're going to continue down the same road that they have for literally hundreds of years. I see the lineage that that has played itself out throughout history. The issue is to come up with new forms, social forms, new institutions. Not these old institutions have fallen apart, and they're based on white man of private property. They have they're anachronistic at this point, and people have become educated. We have mass communications. We have an integrated economy and society, and it's all over the world. And so now we need mass democracy. People literally have to be involved in the decisions that affect their lives on an ongoing basis. It can't be that you vote for some political party of the rich every 4 or 5 years and think that is the end all and be all of a democracy. It is not. Or we're going to keep finding ourselves facing the same ongoing crisis, because it's the people of property, the oligarchs who own and control the major portions of the economy, have taken and have captured political power, and they run the state departments in their own interests, and the society is created in their vision. Just like as these oligarchs meet at, like World Economic Forum, or they just met at this Bilderberg meeting in Washington, and so on and so. These are the people that decide how the world is going to develop, and they use violence to carry out their nefarious aims. And so it's the what social force is going to change these conditions is the question, and what should those changes be? So this is where the discussion should be. We should have our own independent thinking, our own independent politics on these matters, and not constantly be chasing our tail and condemning these warmongers and these self-serving oligarchs and everything, because this is going to go until the end of time.
Yeah, and you also brought up the whole idea about racism and all that. They're also very, very good at dividing people. With identity politics and, getting the whites against the blacks. You're of Irish heritage, and my dad was complete Irish. All his family came from Cork, Kerry, and Killarney counties, and one thing I've read about, as soon as the natives and the Irish started to try to work together, all during the 19th and 20th centuries, they would immediately, split off the Irish and give them a few breadcrumbs, to make them feel superior and separate them from the blacks, or the Italians, or if it was white or red and black, if any of them tried to get together, this same what I call the trillionaire dictatorship. They are brilliant at dividing and conquering, and so
they have hundreds of years of experience. Yeah.
Well, that's why I joined the Communist Party of France, because I think that's the only hope we have. Socialism is the only hope, and we've got to make it work. I realize that with Western democracy, it's tough. You see countries like Venezuela, who have socialist democracy, and you see Bolivia, and they're just constantly being having war declared on them.
Yeah.
And you can't blame then countries like China and DPRK, North Korea, and Cuba, and all the others, who keep the West at a distance because they know they're going to try to destroy what they can get in the country.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. I mean, you raise a good point. I think the system of imperialist states and the violence that they have proven they will use forces a lot of these countries to develop weapons, to be on standby for war at any given moment. Look at North Korea, for instance. They had their country divided in two 70 years ago. The Americans have never left. They have 30,000 troops in the south, completely militarized the region, and they've made it very clear they want to annihilate the north. They don't want to let these people chart their own path and destiny for themselves. And it's a real shame. And it should stop. But then they're called totalitarian and everything else because they can't have normal relations with other people because they are being threatened, their very existence. So they have to be very careful with anybody they let in, and because there's all kinds of state agents and everything. They're going to flood your country. They're going to try to corrupt you from within. They're going to carry out all kinds of things. So they have to be careful with their democracy. Same with even Fidel, say for instance, in Cuba, right? He would get accused of of this and that and everything else, and not participating in to the liking in terms of democracy to the West, right? How what they consider to be their mantra of individual rights, political pluralism, and all of these things. Well, they can't play along with these games because it's going to be the end of you.
Exactly.
They're going to overrun you.
Yeah. Yeah. Color revolutions.
Yeah.
Invasion, sabotage.
Exactly.
Phony CIA NGOs, George Soros.
Yes, yes. National Endowment for Democracy, all of that garbage.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, next is Rome is Burning. And this one was also, oh yeah, we'll let Mr. Hay tell you about how YouTube censored this song. And so I got a copy. I got the version that just has the album, the single cover. And then I said, hey, he said, here it is on Vimeo. So I downloaded the well-produced one on Vimeo. But what you're seeing today has been banned by, or is it banned? Or is it banned or what is it? They what?
Age restricted.
Oh, age restricted. God.
Yeah, you have 18 or older, even though there's been 18-year-olds who've been shot by police.
And younger.
But you can't watch. You can be shot by the police, but you can't watch the kind of violence that they'll inflict on you.
Not to mention hundreds of children in Israeli jails.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
The story goes, you're gonna make it if you try, and if you don't, may your life waste away, 'cause it's your fault. Like the sheen of a rotting fish, the glitter just dazzles. For everyone who's filthy rich, a million must suffer. So start your climb up the money tree. The best slaves are those who think they're free. Oh, Satan, you see Rome is burning. Oh, how it burns. Oh, I feel the burn. As life unfolds, people struggle to make ends meet. Look around, what you see, the hunger, the homeless, the powerless streets. On your mind, the need for change. Channel your pain and your rage. Stand up and link your arms for strength. Shout it out to the police state. I can't breathe, that's why I take a knee. Won't take you for slavery. Oh, say can you see Rome is burning? Oh, how it burns. Oh, I feel the burn. Oh, how it burns. Oh, I feel the burn. And I ask you to please give thanks, not only for God's noise, but please give thanks as part of a movement to build a new society. Make no mistake, racism starts with the state to divide and rule the working class, to keep us broken, not building anew. Lessons of history revealed, organize or be displaced. The rulers have no solutions, only violence, wars and jails. Stick together and fight for your just claims, workers
You are the man. Hey, you showed a lot of stuff. Of course, you know, I've written a lot about racism, and I think it's the foundation of Western civilization, going back 3,000 years. I've had the pleasure of interviewing Mumia Abu-Jamal and Fred Hampton Jr. You know, both, you know, Black Panthers, and have stayed up on the Black Panthers, and there's just such amazing people, and they're incredibly brilliant too. And of course, most of them have been assassinated by the FBI and the CIA and local police. But I wanted to ask you, or imprisoned on phony charges. I wanted to ask you, do you listen to revolutionary gangster rap, like the early Tupac? You know, I mean, and Stickman and Dead Prez and Fred Hampton Jr. Do you listen to revolutionary rap?
I haven't. I haven't.
Okay.
I can't even really formulate an opinion on it because I haven't heard enough of it. I mean, I've probably heard some, but
I will put together a package for you, and I will put it on the cloud, and I'll let you download it. I've got Stickman and M1 and Dead Prez and Outlaws and Nas and early Tupac. I mean, it's powerful. Fred Hampton Jr. Of course, he's actually more of a revolutionary. He does the revolutionary rap for fun, but I mean, it's powerful stuff, my friend.
Yeah.
And I'll put together a package and send you a link, okay? Because it's really, really good. By the way, Rome is Burning came from, you know, supposedly Nero, Emperor Nero. But what a lot of people don't know is that Rome burning under Nero was one of the first documented false flags. He wanted 25% of the city of Rome to build his palace. The corrupt Senate wouldn't give it to him. So he set fire to the exact 25% of Rome that he wanted to take over to build his palace. And then, just like Muslims with 9/11, he got to kill a bunch of Christians because he blamed the Christians for setting fire to Rome. It's like, it's the same playbook for 2,000 years. It's unbelievable. Anyway, here we go. We did Romans, and we've got one more really good song, man. I really love your stuff. Are you working on doing an album? Are you going to get up to an album?
The way I'm doing it right now is like a single at a time to tackle an issue. So I haven't.
Okay.
I guess that's kind of the new way to do it these days. I mean,
I'm an old guy.
No, I do. I came up with albums too, so I know exactly what you're saying. But now these days, everyone just does singles essentially. So that's what I'm going to do. And so the next one I'm working on now is a Palestinian song.
Thank you. Thank you. I lived and worked in the Arab world for 10 years, and
oh, really?
I've been to Palestine. Yeah, it's my best foreign language, Arabic, and of course I've forgotten it. I'd have to go back for a couple of months to pick it back up. But yeah, I'm very, 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 very on top of and I've interviewed a couple of people on the Palestinian issue, and have done a lot of reading, and of course lived in that part of the world for 10 years. So thank you. That is, in fact, I'm a member of the French Palestine Solidarity Association here in Normandy, and participate in their activities. And so you hit my heart. You plucked my heartstrings, Mr. Hay.
Can we say it's the heartstrings of humanity?
The heartstrings of humanity, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just genocide. It's just genocide. What's going on there, and no one wants to say the word, but it's genocide. I hope you include that word in your song.
It's in there.
Good. All right, here we go. We now have the last song is Charity.
Funny to see rich men give to charity when it's their system of greed that leads to poverty. They think they're saviors of humanity. Talk about some sick irony. Read the sign that says helping the homeless since 1906. Why not wipe it out? Was charity a career itself? Dealing with symptoms and not the problems. To avoid changing the status quo, so rich stay rich and rule the world. Can you say two-faced saints with the hidden blades? Don't be fooled, unmask the truth. Your heart's in the right place. In the name of high ideals, the big powers scorch the earth. With all of this death and destruction, you try to pick up the pieces. This could go on until the end of time, unless we stop them and end their crimes. Can you say two-faced saints with the hidden blades? Don't be fooled, unmask the truth. Your heart's in the right place. Can you say two-faced saints with the hidden blades? Don't be fooled, unmask the truth. Your heart's in the right place.
Anyway, it's a really, really good. That reminds me when you talk about the rich, and it reminds me of that song by Simon and Garfunkel called Richard Cory, and where they sing about this rich guy and he's famous and everybody loves him and he spreads his money around and he has a yacht and a plane and all that, and then he goes home and puts a bullet through his head. I wish more of them would do that. But anyway, who did the harmonies right behind you, and then who did the background vocals?
That was me.
You did the whole vocal thing, even the background vocals.
Yeah.
You ran through loops. Okay, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, modern recording, right, you can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I do keep it pretty raw. Like, we don't really do any touch-ups. Like, if I'm slightly wavering on the tempo, we leave it. We don't correct it to the grid.
Yeah.
If I'm a little bit pitchy, we'll leave it. We won't pitch correct it. If it's a bad take, I redo the take. So it leaves it more raw. It's the way I like it.
Yeah.
But I do all the. I still get to use all the tools that are available to you. So yeah, I can run as many voices and do for right. So yeah, it's me doing that.
Are you doing any? Do you play any live sets around where you live and work, or are you going to do any touring in your area, or?
Well,
or do you need to get a few more? Do you need to get a few more songs under your belt before? What's going on?
I would suspect at some point people would want me to play live. I mean, you know, I'm trying to serve the people's movements and everything, and certainly there's been positive feedback from people.
Yeah.
But we're in this weird period of COVID and coming off COVID, where artists were completely shut down, right, and live shows were shut down. But you know, I've played live over the years, but I played a lot more when I was young. I was in a band, and you know, that was a big part of the whole experience. Is that you know, I was, from a very young age, basically played professionally. But I don't know about now, because I have a young family too, and to think about like touring or preparing sets.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous amount of work for which I do not get paid. Let's be honest. And you know, if anything, I'm out money. But the other thing too is that the kind of crowd that I'm catering towards, although the working class and people should support artists and organizations and people, right, with what they need, not just money, but with what they need. You know, if I was playing music for you know, the ruling class, let's say, you know, I probably wouldn't be up to snuff in terms of like what is popular these days, but they would pay your bills, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, so
sell your soul to the devil.
That's right, exactly. And a lot of people that are artists and musicians that I have met, they're not necessarily even on board with all of this garbage. It's just that if they're going to make a living, they have, you know, he who plays the piper.
They've sold out.
Yeah, he who pays the piper plays the tune.
Yeah.
And so they got to do what. So a lot of the time, it's just mimicking even what has already been done. Like I have some local artists here that are so good. They're so good, but they try to repeat what has already been done and what is popular. So in terms of the content, but also in terms of the form too, right? And so there's no real exploration or anything. It's mimicking. So
yeah.
It's a shame. I'm hoping to break that cycle and seeing if I'm calling this initiative Music for Change, and I'm hoping.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, more musicians and everything will want to be part. Certainly, the few that I have involved now are very enthusiastic about it because it feels fresh. No one's doing it, right? And that's important in music. Like when hip hop first came out, it was fresh. And, you know, a lot of those artists at that time, they were talking about the street conditions and all the rest of it. Something you mentioned earlier, which I'm not as familiar with just because of my upbringing where, you know, what I'm exposed to and everything else. But look at what hip hop has been morphed into, right? They'll try to corrupt any form of music or anything.
Yeah.
To be, you know, these days it's all braggadocio. Look at all my gold chains and
bling.
Yes.
Bling.
And then abuse of women and everything else, right? So essentially, that's what it's been corrupted into.
I'll send you a nice playset. A couple more questions before we go. Who are some fellow musicians out there that you respect and like and could recommend?
You know, I wish I could, like, just off the top of my head give you some, but I feel there's a real, you know, a lack in musicians and everything who are doing what I'm doing. Essentially, I don't think I'd even go to these lengths on this effort to make this music if there was already other people doing it. I feel like I'm doing it a little bit different. So this is not to say that I'm trailblazing or I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying that, like, I'm disappointed where we're at in terms of culture and in terms of music. So I don't really have anyone that I could wholeheartedly say, go check this out. This is fantastic. Like what is being done right now. I'd love to discover it. I've scoured the internet looking, you know, and it's not to say there aren't some good songs and good people out there. I'm not saying that, but like in terms of being consistent and you know, all their music has that common thread. I don't see it. There's Dick Gaughan, a Scottish musician who I like a lot of his songs. He has one on Russia called Think Again, although it's from 1988, so totally different context than today. And there's I really liked Phil Oakes was a big influence on.
Yeah.
Because you know, and just his style, his way he would bring politics into his music unapologetically. I really liked that, and he faced a lot of backlash for that too, right? But you know, I liked that, but he's gone. It's older, right? And Dick Goggins he's still alive as far as I know, but he's old now. He hasn't really made anything new. Outside of that, I don't really have a lot that I could point to, unfortunately.
One I can recommend to everybody out there is, and I've actually interviewed him a couple of times, and I met him in Denmark, is David Rovics, R-O-V-I-C, David R-O-V-I-C-S, and he's folk. You know, he doesn't. He's more folk acoustic, but he's also very plugged into anti-empire, anti-police violence, anti-racism, and he's put out quite a he's a prolific writer. I even bought his, to support him, I bought his entire catalog, and I think it was like 10 or 12 albums, but he's very good. So, and one final question, my friend. Are there any books that have moved you in the vein of you know, revolution and change? Are there any books that you've enjoyed reading that you could recommend to people?
Modern Communism.
Yeah.
By Hardy L. Baines.
Okay, so the former Canadian leader of the Canadian the Communist Party of Canada.
That's right. Yeah, Marxist Leninist. Yeah, I'm
okay.
Influenced. They've produced a lot of material. There's a lot of books I could point towards from them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It deals with the Canadian conditions and everything, but it applies to the entire world. There's no doubt about it, right? So, yeah, we're Canada's right in the we're the lapdog for the U.S.
Yeah, and Australia and New Zealand, yes, and Europe and South Korea and Japan.
Yeah,
it's just, and Colombia. It's just, I mean, I'm leaving some out, but
well,
yes, sir.
Distinguished honor of being a part of the Five Eyes. And we're very embroiled in Ukraine too.
Oh, I know.
It's unbelievable how reactionary this liberal government is on Ukraine. Chrystia Freeland and company. These people they're pushing the envelope. Let's just say.
She is a fascist.
Oh.
Christina Freeland, she is a fascist. She is just unbelievable. She and Victoria Nuland, I mean, they're like two peas in a pod. It's just unreal.
Yeah.
Well, listen, my friend, I guess we can say comrade. Listen, my comrade, this has been a lot of fun. I hope what I did with the screen sharing works. If nothing else, if they can't see the wonderful videos that you produced, then they will at least be able to hear the music and what we had in our conversation. So thank you so much. I will give you a Buddhist bow of honor and humility. You're doing great work. Keep it up. You're going to get more popular, and that's what I'm here for, is to help get the word out for you and get some people that never heard of you learn about you. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.